Assassin's Creed Odyssey is exactly that. It's a huge epic that its developers at Ubisoft claim can span up to 100 hours in length. We recently played through a good chunk of the beginning of the game, and it is definitely setting itself up to be something special. Here are 7 things you'll do at the beginning of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But spoiler warning if you want to go into the game totally fresh. And here's a quick shout out to the Huawei Honor Play for sponsoring our channel. Now, ready for takeoff? One of the big themes of Odyssey is family and bloodline, which is why you actually start the game with a flashback to the main protagonist's grandfather, King Leonidas, as he leads a famous battle, that same one featured in the film and graphic novel 300. You play as Leonidas as he leads his troops into a grand and glorious face-off, before the action and time period shifts forward a family generation to young Cassandra and Alexius, via a brief explanatory scene with modern-day protagonist Layla. While you'll play as Cassandra or Alexius through 99% of your Odyssey experience, having Leonidas and Layla present from the off feels like a clever way to sort of bookend the experience. Leonidas' story explains where your protagonist came from. He is their bloodline and the previous owner of their important first civilization spear-tip weapon, while Layla is the modern-day lens we, the player, are seeing the story through. All this exposition could feel like a bit much, but Odyssey features some of the best performances we've seen in a game, and the writing really helps draw you in too.
Xerxes knows of the path behind the mountain. They're coming.
By dawn, you will be completely surrounded.
We are Spartans. When are we not?
Spartans. That word will mean nothing when Xerxes wipes your bloodline from the face.
Cyclops got a message for you.
Tell your boss he can stick it.
That's for last week!
So of course, one of the most talked about features of Odyssey is the fact that you'll be able to choose your protagonist, one of 2 siblings, Alexios and Cassandra, to play as throughout the rest of Odyssey. The first few hours actually deal with that choice in a very interesting way, as you see them both as children, and lay out the family-related drama that your chosen champion will have to contend with as the story progresses. Let's just say this story won't be playing out like Syndicate and giving you the ability to swap between siblings at leisure. We've played through a couple of different sections of the game as both Cassandra and Alexius, and each sibling is incredibly likeable, bringing plenty of nuance and dry humour to Odyssey's storytelling. But we've been particularly impressed by the delivery from Cassandra's voice actor, Melisanthe Mahut, who puts in a brilliant and passionate performance. But in fact, your personal family drama is just one major narrative thread out of 3 that Odyssey is laying down. The story of your family begins the game and runs throughout, as you uncover more about your bloodline and try to reconnect with your past. But then that intersects with the other 2 strands, which are better rooted into existing Assassin's Creed lore and only really get going a good few hours in. There's the Cult of Cosmos storyline, which so far has been hinted to be a kind of moody proto-Templar organisation with similarities to Origin's baddies, the Order of Ancients. And then there's the first Civ storyline, which enables mystical elements like your spear tip and that Medusa fight to take place in Ubisoft's version of ancient Greece, all of which Layla is investigating in the modern day. There's an awful lot of story in Odyssey, in other words, but does it justify 100 hours of gameplay?
Ready the oars!
The commander's taking the helm!
Lower the sail!
on your playstyle and what you want to accomplish. Odyssey Mastermind and Ubisoft Quebec senior producer Mark Alexis Cote told us. There are 3 storylines, but for most people, finishing the game would be completing the family storyline. It is an epic game, to use the Greek word, but we try to make every minute you spend in it valuable and growing you as a character. I think people will like that it has a variety of tones, he continued. You can choose to make it funny. It has made me cry. This game has a way of creating emotions depending on the choices you make, which makes my time playing it feel valuable. I hope it'll be the same for you. You certainly get a sense of that in the variety of quests you'll seek out in the first few hours. There are plenty of funny characters and lines of dialogue, like when you get to choose a horse. But then there are darker moments, like when you're asked whether or not to intervene to save a family from being killed to stop the spread of a deadly disease.
I wouldn't want you to take an unworthy horse.
The game begins strongly with its introductory region of Kefalonia, an island where you have a sort of family to look after in your role as a struggling, failing mercenary, and where you get caught up in the scheming of a local thug, a one-eyed lump nicknamed the Cyclops. There's a hilarious scene with a goat before you travel by boat to Megaris, the first properly big region to hunt the first big target of the game. Megaris is the first of many regions where you'll arrive with instructions to sap the strength of its leader, a gameplay mechanic first announced at E3, and one we wonder how many times the game will ask you to repeat throughout. Taking down the region's strength is a sort of background task to the quests you find there, but it's easy to get caught up in. Taking down forts to raid war resources and cutting down enemy numbers to then weaken the final target in your eventual encounter. Once a nation's power is low enough, you can initiate conquest battles, where you'll be in the midst of war and trying to perform various feats of heroism in order to bring down your enemy's battle power meter before your own is depleted. But as much carefully curated story as Odyssey has, there are still some extras in there for people who want even more. Odyssey's procedurally generated mission system is a way to continually gain XP and items via relatively cookie-cutter missions of the kind Reda the Merchant set you in Origins to encourage you to log in every day. There was nothing intrusive about the concept in the few hours we played. We certainly didn't feel like we had to complete them to hit the leveling curve, but we're cautious to see whether we'll need to engage with these at all as Odyssey progresses. They're a curious addition in general, a never-ending supply of things to do designed to at least partially appear like curated content. You can be stopped on the side of the road and asked to complete one of these quests in a scene with voice dialogue, making it feel like an important thing you should be distracted by. We've got 20,000 dialogue lines for the procedural system, Code told us. We try to monitor what the player is doing and provide you with a quest that could complement what you're doing or what you have done. These quests are sometimes really useful to level up. They appear constantly, but we always try and signal them through the HUD via a different icon. It's good that players who want more content will be able to get it, but it's also important that players who want to avoid fluff and just get to the important story stuff can do that too. Let's be honest, not everyone has 100 hours to spare.
Watch out! They'll try to hit us!
Let's move! Whoa! Feel that wind!
Part of Assassin's Creed Odyssey being so huge comes from its committed leap of faith into role-playing game territory. What started in last year's Assassin's Creed Origins is expanded upon here, so expect level-gated missions appearing on your map, which you may at first not be able to tackle without a lot of starting over, and side quests you'll want to complete before all that to level you up instead. Assassins has always had a strata of missions you have to clear other bits and pieces to access, and always had side activities to complete. The crucial part of Odyssey will be what Code said, whether all of this time playing, getting to the next big narrative beat, feels valuable. But simply exploring Odyssey's enormous and frequently beautiful world or completing side quests for its characters is a huge amount of fun, and it is mostly optional. We had no trouble ignoring the grind of certain side missions and rushing through what was on offer to see the big narrative moment of our demo, one that we definitely aren't spoiling. But we did feel bad for the quests we didn't see, some of which can disappear as you move through the story, and some of which won't trigger at all if you don't fully explore. It is a big world out there, but it'll change to fit the size of adventure that you want to have.
Phobos.
Remember, meet me at the temple in Sami when you have your money from Duris. Ah, Efterpi. There's plenty of wine left to buy. Don't fret.
100 hours is a big commitment for anyone. Some people have the time and some people don't, but our short time with the beginning of Assassin's Creed Odyssey tells us that it wants to be able to give people the option to spend as much or as little time as they like in its world. So, how much time will you be spending there? Let us know in the comments, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to Eurogamer for more videos like this one every single day. While we're here, thank you to our sponsor, the Huawei Honor Play handset, for partnering with us to bring you these videos. The Honor Play has been made with gamers in mind, so if you want to have a proper look at its specs, we'll put a link in the description below. If not, no worries. Here are a couple of our other videos that you might like if you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Going speed!